let's just look a little bit at the global level in terms of what we could call investment cases with what are sometimes called scare quotes. You know, like maybe we don't really mean investment cases, but they stand in, I think, well enough for the term such as we've been using it here. And you know, there was a major publication in The Lancet about Global Health 2035. And you could tell this was published before the Sustainable Development Goals had been established, because strangely they weren't really harmonized with the endpoint of 2030 that we think of these days, or in your particular subfield, Nick, what is it? The plan for control of prevention of non-communicable diseases 2013 to 2020.
Pretty good. It's near enough.
Yeah. So, you know, we have, you know, not only different timelines, but different definitions. But there is this there was a major investment case published in The Lancet called, marketed under this Convergence 2035 agenda. And that was the first paper to introduce this term that I skipped over briefly last time, called the full income. And again, in case you're wondering what that means, we will come back to that after the break. So I'm not going to go into a detailed description right now. But that was an important article because it introduced a concept of full income accounting. That really means, as I mentioned earlier, valuing the health benefits in some kind of common unit with other benefits. And what that common unit often winds up being is some kind of dollars. And I use the term dollars without really referring to the country in which I was born. And if I could just make a small parenthesis, I'm an American by birth, lived in Switzerland for 22 years, become Swiss. And this is the first time I set foot in Moscow and in Russia, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be here. I am loving every second of it, and I certainly hope that you'll find ways to invite me back. So, small advertisement. So, another major global investment case, and what I mean by global investment case is that we're not looking at the country level, but we're looking at potentially the whole world, is the women's and children's health investment case, which is the second bullet point on this slide. That was also published in The Lancet, and that came out in 2013. By the way, the previous one also did, the Convergence 2035. That's also a 2013 publication. And followed on after that a couple of years later with an investment case for what are sometimes called common mental disorders. So depression and anxiety. And interestingly, for non-fatal diseases, the investment case turns out to be a particularly strategic tool because people don't die from depression and anxiety usually, but they do miss a lot of work. And so here's a case where the economic benefits may be greater than the health benefits. And that's, I think, explains why depression and anxiety, as in a piece of work led from WHO, were some of the early movers in the investment case analysis. After the sort of the top one, which was all things considered, health sector, the middle one, women's and children's health, including family planning, the bottom one, common mental disorders. There have been a few other investment cases, mini or full scale. One came out in the World Malaria Report, which was starting to value the lives saved by malaria in 2016. There is a so-called, you can find out if you type in Google WHO investment case, you will find an investment case for eliminating mother-to-child transmission of syphilis. And finally, there is also in the Lancet, in I believe it's 2017, an investment case, a global investment case for adolescent health. So that's to say, in terms of global investment cases, this is not a systematic review, but quickly I've been able to come up with about 6 that I'm aware of, or that I've found by looking for them. There are a number of other kind of activities that are underway, and one of them that'll be of interest, I think, in particular to this community, is a global investment case for non-communicable diseases that is being led by the colleague of mine, Melanie Bertram, who was unfortunately not able to come and be with us here, in which I'm also involved, and some of the other usual suspects from the previous ones, Dan Chisholm, who did the mental health, the common mental disorders investment case. There's an investment case on hearing loss that WHO recently published. So when I'm thinking about global investment cases and looking at all the countries in the world, WHO is often an actor. So many of these are WHO products. And the same when I refer to the air pollution, the environment, injection safety, and viral hepatitis, we're talking about WHO-led investment cases. And then finally for assistive technologies, which could include everything from eyeglasses to other kinds of technologies that help people with health conditions function better. Assistive technologies also sounds like a particularly good area for an investment case, because people don't die from poor vision, but better vision, corrected vision, helps people to work better and to earn more and to stay more active in every aspect of their life. So if you look at these areas, you can also find some other products that come in under the term of investment case. And here, as in many things in the health sphere, the HIV/AIDS community got out way in front of the rest of us with a number of products that they call investment cases that have been done at country level all around the world. There's quite a proliferation of them. I'm going to say they're not really investment cases in the sense that we mean now. These are costing studies. These are MDG era products, not SDG era products. So you'll find a lot of things labeled as investment cases that won't really fit our current definition. Okay, just to warn you. So then, there is another set of activities, and I think it's good that Jill is here. Jill, am I correct in assuming that you work with Gordon Galea? And one of the conversations that we've had with Gordon, sitting as he does in the European regional office, and a few of us here in headquarters in Geneva, one of the conversations that we've had is, well, what do countries really need? And sometimes there's a product that you could just call a business case, which is a set of reasons for taking action. It doesn't necessarily have to have a lot of sophisticated economic analysis. And I would say that these HIV/AIDS investment cases are much more than costing studies. I was a little pejorative, derogatory there. They're business cases in the language you might use today. They're a set of reasons for doing something. So a business case can be a set of reasons for doing something that is based on the idea of how do you sell an idea to investors. But here, of course, we mean the public and the private investors. And the business case can also include, notably, the kind of institutional context analysis that we're talking. So a lot of what I've said today, you'll notice I'm a lover of terminology, definitions, and concepts. And really, that's a lot of what I'm going to be trying to be conveying here today, although the next presentation I'll get much more granular. But there are these things called business cases that may include an investment case that calculates a return on investment, but may not, and that's okay. So I think we live in a big world. There's a lot of things out there, and whatever helps us get the job done is really all for the better. So, but for the purpose of this discussion, really, and I may change my mind by the end of tomorrow, but coming here today, this morning, I'm going to propose that for the purpose of this discussion, an investment case includes an economic, and at least, it may include other things, but at least it includes an economic analysis that calculates a return on investment, ROI. And I'll return to this in the next presentation. Thank you.